Welcome everyone here to the Smash Sport Show right here on Smash FM here on Lockdown Tuesday here in Melbourne. And of course, let's go out to our friends over in Sydney in particular. And of course, unfortunately on the weekend, our, of course, Sun Power team unfortunately crashed out of the finals last week against Inner West in a very close contest it was too, by less than 2 goals. And, of course, we've got 4 very special guests joining us right now to tell us a bit about the season that was and obviously that finals game as well. And they join us right now. Thanks all 4 of you for joining us.
No worries.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. I'll get all 4 of you introduce yourselves and obviously what position all 4 of you played on the field this season.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Maddie, and I play off the halfback line, so halfback flank for most of the season.
I'm Laura, but most people know me as Halsey, and I love to play forward, but I was playing midfield this year.
I'll go. My name's Keely, and I played fullback for the season.
My name's Catherine, or the girls call me Huggies, and I moved to the back line the latter half of this year and played a bit on ball.
We'll talk very briefly about just on the weekend just gone against Inner West. I guess tell us a bit about the game and how it all sort of panned out.
Well, didn't start off great. In the first couple of minutes, we lost our ruck. So in our back, we had 2 rucks for the season, and last week we also lost our other ruck to a broken arm. So and then our midfielders had to kind of jump in straight away and kind of threw us off a little bit. But for the rest of the game, we still kind of won the hit-outs and competed pretty well, but it did kind of throw our structures out a little bit.
I was just going to say, it was a real arm wrestle that first, 12 minutes. It was just contest on contest and really intense, even after we lost Nick to her injury. But, yeah, it was just exhausting and we were just holding out. But, yeah, it was the signs of a tough battle.
Yeah, I think it was it was a tough game as well, like weather conditions, where we played at Henson. It doesn't matter if it's, the beautiful day anywhere else. It's always super, super windy. So I think the winds and reading the ball, and obviously each quarter you change in and it changes the flight of the ball and whatnot, which makes it a bit trickier. But yeah, it was a very intense, high pressure game. But yeah, they were just, too good for us on the day.
Now, I guess playing at home there at Henson Park, I guess you mentioned how difficult the conditions can be there. Was it, I'm sure it was just a normal conditions there at Henson Park for the final?
Yeah, I'd say no. I think normally at Henson it's can be a bit windy, just the nature of how the ground's kind of set up and whatnot. But yeah, it wasn't like, it was good in terms of it, it wasn't a wet weather day or anything like that. So yeah, I think, conditions pretty standard for Henson, I think.
Yeah, it just meant that we were playing the ball down one side of the field, and that just, I guess, restricted our bit of our running and gameplay when really holding that switch back, as well as just making it a tight game on that one side, the whole 4 quarters.
Now let's talk a bit about the season. Obviously got cut short. I think you end up playing every team once, I think, throughout the year. Serve me correct, yeah. I guess how difficult was that, and were either you optimistic at all that we're going to end up playing the way that end up playing at all for the season?
Yeah, I think before the real strict COVID restrictions came in, we'd had a very good pre-season. We were tracking really well. We had some great momentum. The vibe was really good, and we were all shattered that it stopped because it felt really special. And then it got to the point where we were only able to train in certain groups and you had to sanitize the ball, and it was really different. It was really weird. But then, yeah, it was great to come back and actually get 9 rounds in. And I think most of us were pretty happy that we do it when looking down. Victorians not able to get a run. So, yeah, I think when we came back, you know, we probably weren't, it meant we weren't as consistent in terms of, because we had a very stunted kind of pre-season again. Yeah.
And on the 9-week season, like our finals campaign came down to the last round, like as to whether we made it in or not, pretty much. So it was a lot more pressure on every single game coming in, because you only get one shot at everyone pretty much. And we played some teams right at the start of the season and then in finals, and that's all you had pretty much. So it was very different to a normal sort of year of footy.
Yeah. And with all the new teams as well, it was a very, you only had one shot, and then it was make or break. And that going into that last round, I think the top 5 was not decided. We secured our position, but yeah, there was at least 7 teams in the running for it.
Now, you meant, I think someone mentioned before, I think it might have been Laura that mentioned right at the start, about obviously getting back in groups and sanitising the football on a regular basis. I guess, how difficult was that for like the first maybe 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like logistically, I think it was pretty tricky. I think probably more so obviously for, you know, the coaches and whatnot, kind of, you know, deciding upon groups, and then obviously having suitable drills that would kind of work in the space that we had and the time frame that we had as well. So yeah, I think it was pretty tricky kind of the first couple of weeks getting used to it, but I think everyone was just so thankful and so grateful to actually be back at training and actually being able to have a run that it didn't really matter. I think everyone was just pretty excited to be there, to be honest.
Yeah. I think the main issue as well was ground availability, with having less people on the field, sharing it with our senior club, our juniors, and then the other junior club as well. It just meant that we were there for a longer period of time because there was fewer people allowed on the field. So that added to it. We were training later and starting earlier, and on different nights. But yeah, we were just so grateful that we had that opportunity, I guess, and we were allowed to.
Was there any point that you felt really comfortable just training as a group? Like, what I meant by that, like as a whole team instead of separate groups?
Yeah, I think when the restrictions eased, like it would happen that morning, and then that night you could train. It went from training in 6 to training in 10, and then it went training to full capacity. So it was kind of, you didn't really have much of an opportunity, but I think when we all kind of got together, everyone was really excited to see one another because we'd just been in lockdown and you couldn't really chat. So it was more probably like the social side of things that everyone was really happy about, and then it was kind of weird because you couldn't really tackle or do any of that kind of stuff for a while. So but you know, it was quite tricky not to when you played the whole time tackling, and you'd have to go up to someone and just play tag or try not to touch them. That was probably pretty challenging.
Tell us throughout the year, of course, as I said, you made the finals this year in a shortened season. Was there a particular game that stand out to all of you the most?
UNSW game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we scored a goal in the first 40 seconds, and it was some of the sexiest footy I've been a part of. So it was, yeah, straight out of the midfield. Did 2 sweeping handballs from our backline players who switched it across to the wing, switched back to the top of the 50, and then hit a leading forward and scored all within 40 seconds. So yeah, when you're opposition, when you're walking back to the centre bounce and they're like, wow, that was pretty good. So I thought that was That was my special moment.
Yeah, that whole game was just like really clean footy, the entire game. Like it was just mark after mark, and it was really good to see from everyone. So that's probably the one that stood out for me as well.
Yeah, I think as well, probably in terms of the team gelling as well, like the first couple of weeks, you obviously, I mean, this year it's, you know, probably 50% of a new team. So I think, yeah, the first couple of weeks, obviously, you know, you're getting used to how people play and whatnot. And then it was, yeah, probably that game that it all just kind of clicked. And it was actually, yeah, starting to look like some really good footy, which was, yeah, very exciting.
I think I like the last two games. They were tough ones, and they were against those probably top 7 or top 5 teams. And being on the winning side of a close game was, I think, evident of how much we developed, not just this year, but from last year as well. So I think that was exciting and a bit of self-belief for everybody as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think on that as well, Hugs, there was a couple of games where we were behind as well. And, you know, normally probably the last couple of years, if we'd get behind, our heads would just get down and that'd pretty much be the end of the match. Whereas I think there was maybe 2 or 3 games this year against tough teams, where we were behind and fought and came back for the win, which was, yeah, really good to see as well.
Now, tell us a couple of players in your team that had a great year, and you can't include each other or yourselves.
Can we name the other 17 players? Or I think everyone had moments. We had brand new players like Anna that had never played and ended up being exceptional on the wing, to Brody, who is 17, coming in and being a ruck against the WS ruck at this stage. You know, I think there's so many moments. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Kyla, I think she was 16 at the time when she started playing up as well. And, yeah, just some of the footy that, you know, she was playing this year for a 16-year-old playing against, obviously, you know, women. It was pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah, and it was those girls coming through the Youth Girls program that we've seen for the last sort of 5 or 6 years, and playing senior footy and just fitting right in. I think that was pretty proud, as well as new girls just coming in and gelling eventually. Yes, everyone was finding their feet and finding their spot, but I think, yeah, we got there towards the end of the season. Yes, we bowed out earlier than we wanted to, but it was really quite special watching the new players just finding their feet.
You mentioned before about all the youth players that you had in your team. Is there one particular youth player that we should watch out for in the future?
There's a couple, but yeah, probably. Kiara was at the combine today, and she's just had an amazing season. She's always just been an amazing athlete, but focusing this year on her footy, you just saw her game go in leaps and bounds. So that was really exciting, as well as a couple of mids in there. Brody and Jess, they came across and joined our team and club this year, and they had amazing seasons as well, just really developed their own footy.
Yeah, and then Ruby as well.
Yeah, Ruby as well. Kyla, 16. Sarah.
They're all going to be very, very good players because they're holding their own in senior women's footy, and, you know, by the end of the season, they weren't afraid to kind of tell us senior girls if we're doing something wrong. So I think the future of Southern Power Women's Footy is in pretty good hands with them.
Now, how did all 4 of you get involved in footy, and why did you choose it?
Mine was just a random one, to be honest. I grew up watching league, never watched a game of AFL in my life before I had played my first game. It was just through a friend at a party that I went to, and the girls were looking for players, and I was like, I'm a bit over soccer, may as well go down and give it a go. And then after the first training session, pretty much just became obsessed, and I've been pretty footy crazy for the last couple of years now. It was really just a happy coincidence for me.
For me, I was pretty much born with a footy when I came out of the womb. No, my dad had a big influence on my footy. He did a couple of pre-seasons with Richmond and played lots and lots of footy. He represented Victoria and New South Wales in several things, and where I grew up didn't really have Oz kick, but I made Dad make his own Oz kick in our backyard, and then when I moved to Sydney, then played.
I probably jumped on the Swans bandwagon back in 05, 06 and got a bit bored of netball, which I still love as a sport, but wanted something a bit more challenging with a bit more run. And I was just looking for a team, put my name down on Sydney AFL website or postcode or somewhere. And when this team in Sydney South started to look for some players, here I am.
Mine was a bit more random. I actually got really sick when I was 16 and ended up in a wheelchair and had a doctor tell me I needed to go find something where I got hit around and ran lots. So went over and had a chat with Huggies actually in the youth girls and joined there and then. I've been playing since then. So happy coincidence a little bit as well, but bit of a different way to end up in footy.
That's awesome.
Now, I have to ask this question. You all mentioned right at the start what position you played on the field. If you had a preferred position where you loved to convince your coaches to put you, where would that be?
I'm gonna say because of my age now, I'd love a little forward pocket spot. Just buzzing around there, trying to annoy them, getting their fourth defender or something. I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I don't know. If you'd asked me that question maybe a couple of years ago, I probably would have said, I'd be keen to get my fitness up and have a go in the mids or on the wing. But I love the back line now. I love the physicality of it. So I'm pretty happy where I am for the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy in the backs at the moment, but we'll see how the season goes. If we get the fitness up, we might have a bit more of a run in the middle, but no complaints at all.
Yeah, I think I've always just been that goal defence, halfback, sort of running out of defence. So I think it's probably my preferred position as well, where I've sort of slotted back into this year. So just don't put me in front of goals.
Neither.
I have to ask this question. Now, I actually forgot to mention it in a couple of questions ago. Tell us a bit about your coach.
He goes for a terrible AFL team. We can't do it.
He's footy mad. He's he's a young guy. He's 24 or so, but he's absolutely footy crazy. He's done a lot of junior rep kind of coaching and stuff. Giants Academy, but he loves footy. So he's I think he's brought a lot of professionalism in this year in terms of his previous experience and kind of coaching at that kind of high level. I'm really enjoying him as a coach.
He new this year, so it was his first year with the girls, and he obviously had quite a new team with all the youth girls coming up. So he had quite a challenge on his hands, and then we got hit with COVID, and so he's done really well for himself. And obviously, the finals campaign didn't go 100% to plan, but it was a really great season, I think, for him as well. He did really well with the girls, so yeah.
Yeah, we'd had the same coach for 5 years, and he brought us along and developed us, and we got to sort of that point, obviously, and he left us at the end of 2019, and Josh brought, we started a new team, so we went from a squad of 2 teams to 3, and that in itself was added logistics and resources. We got a new assistant coach, Adam Parker came on board, and that I think really helped push our attack and developed our forwards as he slotted in there. But Josh was a great clubman and brought so much of that, or understood that culture of what's been so good at Southern Power for us over the last, well, this is our 11th season at the club. And he just increased us and has really sort of taken us to that next level. Expectations were lifted, and I think we met that with what we could. Obviously just tripping at the finish line, but I think it's been really good for the girls and the club.
Welcome everyone back. Of course, we'll continue on with our segment with the Southern Power women's football team. And of course, now we've got a very special guest joining us right now. Of course, she just finished or just came back from her combine just a moment ago. Of course, she joins us right now to tell us a bit about. Thanks, Kiara, for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
How was the combine, and I guess how many more weeks have you got left in it?
So the combine was just a one-day testing, so that's all finished today. It was a really good experience with the other girls from New South Wales. So to start, we did just some measurements like weight, height, arm span, all of that type of stuff. And then we went over to the netball courts and did agility, 20-metre sprint test, and vertical jump test. And then we went back over to the Giants headquarters and did a 2K time trial.
And how do you think you went in the time trial?
Out of the New South Wales girls, I came first in the sprint and agility, and then we don't know about the vertical jump, and second in the 2K.
Woo! Well done.
Yeah. You don't want to give too much away, but is there, do you have a preference of what club you would like to go to? I'm assuming the Giants, because then I think
I'd obviously love to go to the Giants because I've got everything here in Sydney with family and friends, but I think being drafted, I've still probably got a couple years of things to work on and fix before getting to that top level, but I think I'm on the right pathway to get there eventually.
Now, how did you get involved in footy and why did you choose it, Kiara?
I got involved in footy originally just from a gala day at school, and then selectors came up to me and said that I've got a talent and should try and go to the national team. And then I made it to nationals, and then I decided to join Southern Power and loved it ever since.
Now, what position do you play on the field? And if you had a preferred position that you like to convince your coaches to put you, where would that be?
I normally play on ball, but that's definitely my favourite position. I love being where the ball is.
Now, we'll bring everyone back in for this interview, for the rest of the interview, which is what would be some highlights throughout all 5 of your footy journeys so far?
I was pretty lucky. I got the opportunity to play on Adelaide Oval a couple of years ago with Huggies as well. So that was pretty amazing before a Crows game. So there was quite a few people in the stadium. So that was pretty cool.
Mine's definitely not that spectacular. Probably just having the opportunity to play, a couple of finals series. The year before last, out at Blacktown and stuff. It was pretty cool to play on such an awesome field out there. So most weeks in and out of highlights for me at footy. I love it.
Yeah, I'm with Holdsy on that. I'm on Adelaide Oval, but that was pretty amazing. Being a little bit of a diehard Swans fan as well, pulling on a Swans jersey for an exhibition game in the same year, was it 2016? That was pretty fun, pretty special to play on the SCG in the red and white.
I reckon for me it would be either our grand finals led by Huggies or our Perth schoolgirls grand final when we played against Victoria in Perth.
Yeah, I've only been in footy for I think 3 seasons now, and it was the first year with Huggies. We were the underdogs in the under-18s grand final, and we came through and won, and that was a very exciting grand final. So probably that one.
Now, I'm going to ask about that grand final. Tell us a bit about it and how good was it to hold the Premiership Cup if you've got the chance to hold the Premiership Cup, and especially, and how long did you wear your medals?
Well, it was my first year of footy, so I kind of came in and I'm like, how good's this? We'll do this every year. But no, it was a really
back to back. It was pretty good.
yeah, back to back. No, it was a really fun season, but we had lost. We'd played the team coming first twice and lost both times, and then came up against them in the grand final, and we were down for a bit of the game.
Yeah, we're losing at 3/4 time, and then
we were losing, and then in the last quarter came through with the win. And it was just it was amazing. It was really great to see the girls come back like that.
That year actually we had our semi-final on at the same time, so I actually had to play in the Premier Division's semi-final and missed coaching the under-18s. But my two ICs did a pretty good job, but it was pretty special to celebrate with the girls after. We lost our semi, but the girls won the grand final, so it was win some, you lose some.
Now, you mentioned that you actually missed the grand final because you had to play in the semis. Did your team at least give you your premiership medal?
Oh yeah, we all went back afterwards and got to hold the cup and got my own medal and everything. So that was fine, but it was still missed it, which was a bit of a sore point. But and then we lost our semi in a bit of controversy, but that's we won't bring up old wounds.
And how many of those players are now in the senior team from that year?
So this year there's probably from last year's youth girls. I think we had half of them come up. So there was about 11 or 12 into the senior squad, and I think there's probably about 5 or 6 of the girls. How many? Kiara, Sarah, Kyla,
Rubes, Emily.
Yeah, about 6, 5 or 6. Yeah, and Tara. Pretty special.
Now, obviously, I'm going to ask you, Hugsy and Laura, this question. Now, you both mentioned before about the Adelaide Oval experience. How special was that to walk out on one of the most picturesque grounds in Australia?
Pretty good. We were, I think, at the time probably still on a rather interesting field back in the Shire with a couple of cricket pitches, so it was a bit different to what we trained on week in, week out. So, but it was really special. My parents came over, and there was some family and friends, some favourites as well. So it was pretty special, and it was it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome just walking out. You just kind of, I don't know, the sound kind of all drowns out, and it was really cool having family and stuff there. And I think the first 5 minutes I don't really remember what I was doing or if my shoes were tied up or what was kind of going on. It was pretty cool, and we were really, really close. We probably should have won that game, and it was 5 minutes to go. And South Australia, we had lots of run, and they just kept, bogging the ball down, ball up after ball up. So it was a real shame, but I don't think anyone from either team kind of walked off feeling pretty bad about themselves. So to look up and see the stands pretty full like it was, it's pretty cool.
Now, what does the sport of footy mean to all 5 of you, and especially playing for Southern Power?
It means heaps to me. I think it's footy. Actually, obviously playing the sport is amazing, but I think just the culture. I only ever played for Power, but coming from lots of different sports, I think the culture at Power is pretty awesome. It's a incredibly inclusive place. you rock up to your first training session and I feel like, you feel included straight away. It means a lot to me, I think, in, that social kind of sense as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Maddie. Like, we say power and unity, but it definitely is true. Like, coming up to the women's this year, they were also welcoming and made you feel like at home, and they're all like feel really united as a team, and it's much more than just footy and staying fit and healthy, but it's like a second family, as to say. It's really good.
Yeah, I think this is my second season at Power, and it's been a very good decision coming across. I played at a couple of clubs prior to coming to Power and saw the teal light and headed my way down south. So I absolutely love it. All my family are down in Victoria, so it's a family away from your family, and it's just awesome. And every time you rock up to training, everyone's smiling and happy to see you. And I think we play some pretty good footy, and we really drive and inspire each other to be not only better football players but better people off the field as well.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome to watch. As I said before, it's our 11th season, and I remember our first couple of years of it's bring a mate down, does someone want to play on Saturday? It was footy 11 years ago in Sydney wasn't what it is today, and we were just the suburban club a bit further out of Sydney and trying to compete with soccer and netball, just to recruit was hard as another sport, and so that's why we sort of looked at, well, let's make our own passionate, experienced youth coming through to help feed us, to get the local numbers that are interested and experienced by the time they hit senior football, but from there as well, just the reputation and how much fun everyone was having, and not just on field but off field. We're pretty social, and enjoy that side of it. So it's just sort of grown, as I said before, like it's the 3 teams this year, and it's just a massive squad, and it's a pretty good culture to be around.
Yeah, I agree with everyone here. It's such there's so much love for all the girls, and I've never been at another sport where it's like you have the guys teams as well come down and cheer you on at your games and hang around the club and chat and have that. Really, it's one club, and it's not all these separate teams, which is really lovely as well. I mean, we train with all 3 women's squads together normally, and it's just there's so many opportunities for all the girls as well, and so much support in the club for pushing us to go where we want to.
Yeah, that's it. The boys, the whole club were amazing when we first came over. We got coaches from them. If we didn't get numbers at training, we were just joining in, and we were just dropping footies, shanking footies, but it didn't matter. They were always there, just there encouraging. So it's from that get-go, I think they created that culture, and welcoming us when we started, and from there it's just built and built. So it's pretty special.
Now, do either of you have any future ambitions in the sport of footy?
I definitely like to play professionally one day, hopefully. Would love to play with a proper club and get paid and be the best I can at footy one day, hopefully. Hopefully soon as well.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that's going to happen very much. I think for me, I don't know how much more playing footy I've got, but I think, I'd definitely love to have some role in a coaching capacity and, help where I can and, pass on what I've learned and all my knowledge onto, all the girls coming through and, help out.
Yeah, I think I'm loving where I'm at the moment, and just loving learning, as much about the sport as I can, and just trying to develop in myself as much as possible. I think I'm pretty happy, kind of focusing on footy at Southern Power at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to say I could turn pro, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm pretty proud of like the part that we have played. As we've mentioned, like Holtz and I have had great opportunities, and it's just been awesome. Yes, AFLW wasn't around 10 years ago, and the end goal, that ambition or opportunity just wasn't there. But I guess we've also played a pretty important role of showing those stepping stones and creating what it is today. So I guess a bit of reflection on, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, and helping to be involved in that in the future, on and off the field. So yeah, I don't know how many playing years I've got left in me either, but just coaching the girls, coaching different academies, it's pretty special to share those moments and encourage those girls that do have the stars in their eyes and they do have that, and just wanting to help contribute to their goals.
Yeah, mainly use footy this season to just keep my health on track, but we'll see where it goes in a couple of years. I'm not shutting any doors, but yeah, it would be nice, but we'll wait and see.
Now, let's finish off with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates there at Southern Power. First question I'm going to ask you is, who had the most embarrassing moments on the field this season, and what was it?
Brody.
On field.
Sorry, Brody. Was it her that went the wrong way? Or?
Oh, no, it was about 3 in the same game.
Brody and Jess, I think, in like the first couple of weeks.
Oh, it's me as well.
Yeah, and Kiara.
They were under the bus.
Holty, you have to run off at half time to,
Oh, yeah.
top of the pool.
I think that takes the cake.
I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. My stomach.
Sorry, Holty, right under the bus.
Yeah, there was a couple of good tanning. The tanning,
moments.
yeah.
Girls rocking up with amazing fake tans in the middle of winter. So.
The most orange team in Sydney.
Down from the like,
Here's one of them now.
The orange, love it. The mascot.
Oh, that's funny.
Props.
Now, who's the comedian in the team?
ooh, probably a couple.
Ruby?
Rubes is pretty funny, yeah. Ash is pretty funny.
I know.
Like Bird sets a lot of it up.
Yeah.
Walks right into it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's
Yeah.
everyone's got their funny moments. I don't think there's a massive
Yeah.
standout.
Yeah.
Oh, Gunther's pretty funny too.
Mm.
Oh no, we just lost.
Oh, we've just lost Kiara.
Hey,
Hopefully we'll get it back on very soon. I know there's this thing called TikTok, and I wish we had Kiara back on for this question. Now, of course, with TikTok, who was the best singer and dancer in the team?
Did we have a singer? We probably had an easy.
Mima can definitely sing.
oh,
I don't know if you're looking for good or like TikTokable, but Mima's good.
yeah, no, mine.
Yeah.
Ellen's
Genuine
good
talent, not just TikTok. Ellen,
Evesy,
yeah, got some actual talent.
Road,
Girls.
all the TikTokers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're teaching all us old.
Yeah, I'm out with TikTok. I've got no idea.
TikToky is.
TikToky.
Now, we're about to have Kiara back on, so I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yeah.
Now, Kiara, I'm going to ask you this question. You only just missed this one. Now, I was just mentioning about TikTok just a moment ago. Who's the best singer and dancer on the team?
Well, I reckon Brady's a pretty good TikToker. I've seen quite a lot of her moves in the change rooms. singer and dancer. I reckon I'd have to give it for Brodie to all of her TikToks in the change rooms. I don't know who else is up there. I'm sure there's a lot. I don't practice much singing and dancing in my spare time. Don't have a lot of spare time.
Now, any pre-game superstition or ritual by any of you?
Oh, really? Just lots of food.
I get a nervous poo out of the way, but besides that.
Standard, yeah.
I feel like, is Broads a bit of a superstition with the hairspray and toothbrush?
It was Ruby was telling me she has to put her like socks and shoes on in the right order or she freaks out.
I do love the hairspray and toothbrush.
Yeah.
So that's pretty unique.
I'd never seen that as part of a routine, so yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Now, also, is there like a pre-game song to hype the team up before a game? If so, who runs the playlist and what's the worst song on it?
Oh God, don't ask me.
We didn't have too many because of COVID. We weren't really allowed in the change room together at any stage. So it was kind of once you get on the field, that's when you hype up.
Yeah. Can you think of any?
I think this song "Pump It Up" was played a little
Early
bit
on, yeah, before COVID. Yeah, COVID hit. That was pretty big.
Now, during the lockdown that you've had at the start of the year, did any of you try anything new, and do you have a hidden talent that you didn't think you had?
Well, actually, I did use splits on the TRX, if that counts.
Oh.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah. Hug his face.
Oh. Yeah, we had actually during lockdown we had all these a daily team challenge, which was pretty fun and just was great for a bit of banter. So each day someone had to name a challenge, and some of them were quite physical. There was a heck of a lot of burpees, some yoga in there, and some just some fun challenges as well. We also did the toilet paper video at one point. That was cool too. So yeah, it was really good that we stayed quite connected, even though we were very isolated.
We did team trivia as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
How the team trivia go and who won?
Oh, I lost.
What?
I can't remember who won.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you were solo as well, weren't you?
No, we were in teams.
God.
You still made it.
We'll finish off with these last two. Now, I know around a lot of footy clubs, there's nicknames. Who has the best nickname in the team?
Sauce?
I think that the new one is a good one. Yeah, Sauce.
Sauce.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick Nat, but we've got our ruck duo is Nick and Nat, so it's Nick Nat. I thought that was pretty
Like
cool.
that, Louis.
Yes, that's so good.
Got what else? Fluky.
Oh, yeah, Fluky.
Yeah, Fluky, there she is.
She's on the call.
Taps is pretty good too.
Yeah, Taps are probably my favourite.
We'll finish off with this last two, which is who's the most forgetful person on the team?
Ruby. Even her dad wrote that in the permission slip.
Most forgets her boots, actually. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. With some footy clubs, there's the fine system that goes towards a footy trip. Now, the question I'm going to ask is, have any of you got caught with fines, and who copped the most fines throughout the year?
Ooh, well,
All copped a fine.
yeah, we've all copped them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Keels, has yours maybe been for the jerseys? Has yours won?
I think that
Yours
was
maybe been the biggest?
the most expensive fine, but I've only been fined once, so I got it all out of the way in one go. I watched the jerseys one week and brought them to training, and they stayed at the home ground for our away game. So we all showed up to the ground. We kind of had a last-minute switcheroo with the reserve grade team to
On
make sure
field. On field.
But yeah,
Pretty funny.
I did split that one with our coach, so I didn't cop the full. I think it's gonna end up being like $90 or something. So
Oh, wow.
$5 a jersey or something. So, anyways, but we got rid of that one. But I don't know who's been fined the most, like consistently.
Josh has been fined the most.
Yeah, probably.
Been fined the most.
I think he's pretty much paying for footy trip, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's paying for it.
Oh. Well, all five of you, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome having all you on the show. Next season, I'll be definitely making sure I come up to she's in action in the 2021 season. Hopefully for Southern Power, you can do it again, make the finals, and hopefully go all the way and win it all in 2021.
Yeah, bring her next year. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Will.
No worries. And that's the Southern Power, of course, women's football team. Make sure you get down there, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can go about it, of course, on our social media. And, of course, especially when their pre-season is underway. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on Lockdown Tuesday.